Hey, it's Brian here. Thanks for getting started with this training. This is the step-by-step guide to writing articles that engage, entertain, and educate. So, what are you going to get out of this program? Well, you're going to get the step-by-step formula to writing masterpiece how-to articles every single time. I know that's a big promise, but as we get into it, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so these articles will educate readers, give them an aha moment. It will engage and ensures that they read the entire article and not get bored. So by going through this program and using the methods from this program, you're never going to run into writer's block ever again when you're creating how-to articles. Okay. So also, if you are working for a client right now as a writer or a freelance writer, then you'll be able to get more work because you'll be able to over deliver and simply blow your client's mind. And I'm also going to give you the tools to set you up for um, basically an incredible career as a content creation master because, well, like I said, this is going to be a step-by-step guide so you can just plug and play and put these methods or these steps or these techniques I should say right into use every time you get a new project for writing a how-to article. Alright, so what's the problem here? Well, as you probably know, people want, or I should say Google is looking for content that engages reader. So if you write a piece of article that runs for 20 seconds, it's 1,000 words, let's say, but people get onto the website and they read that article and they get bored within 20 seconds, 26 seconds, then that article is not going to be very much used because Google will deem that article to be irrelevant or low quality. And obviously that's not what you want because then the article will not rank on Google, and that's something that's really important. So low engagement lead to bad ranking for SEO. We know that already. And another problem that a lot of aspiring writers or content writers run into is not being sure where to begin when writing an article. So we're going to tackle that and show you exactly how to overcome that. And clients get angry sometimes if you are an aspiring writer because when you create a content over something that you're not very familiar about, the content sounds like it's written by a robot, and we're going to get into that as well to make the content sound a lot more engaging, a lot more exciting, the step-by-step method for doing that. So what are we going to be covering? Well, these are the circles that we're going to draw, and we're going to be operating within these different circles, conceptually speaking. So we're going to learn the little writing trick that triggers your reader's emotion, okay? And these are all concepts, by the way, but I'm just going to go through them, and later on in this course I'll go into each one in detail. The second thing we're going to learn is the biggest mistake that most aspiring writers make and what to do about it. The third thing, the Bible teaching strategy of mass influence. I know that sounds really epic right now, but again, I'm going to show you what it's all about. Number 4, we're going to learn the easy method to create an aha moment for your readers. We're going to learn the lazy man's method to building instant trust with your readers. The mind control method, how to get 100% engagement. Popular writing mistake that confuses your readers. How to create articles that people want to read every single time. The mind reading method of building trust, and the framework for writing an engaging how-to article every single time. And at the end of this program, we're going to actually put an article together. So from beginning to end, we're going to create all the components, and then we're going to assemble it together, and you're going to see exactly how everything comes together. Okay, so let's get started with these different concepts. See you in the next section. Okay, so the first concept here is the little writing trick that triggers your reader's emotion. So this is about using power words. So what's the problem here? Most aspiring writers or foreign writers, I see a lot of these on Elance and Odess.com. We write me too words. What do I mean by that? I'm going to show you in a second. And it makes people's eyes just glaze over when they start reading stuff like that. An example of this, The man told everyone that he is having relationship issues with his wife. This made his wife feel uncomfortable. Hmm, pretty boring, right? So, like I said, the solution here is to use power words, all right? Words that hit people in the gut. And this is what I mean. Examples of power words, okay? So, lawyer is an power word. Lawsuit, blood, humiliating, destroy, forbidden, controversial, cheating. Now, I'm going to also provide you with a little short list of, it's not going to be little, but it's going to be a short list of all the my favorite power words that you can use in your content right away. Okay, so words that basically make people go, whoa, what is that all, or what is all this about, and basically stops them and makes them want to read your content. So, example of power words in use: the man exposed the secret of his cheating wife. The disturbing truth horrified friends and family. Lawyers got involved and blood was drawn. The wife faced ultimate humiliation. So let's go over this one more time. The man exposed the secret is probably a power word, of his cheating wife. The disturbing truth horrified friends and family. Lawyers got involved and blood was drawn. The wife faced ultimate humiliation. So you can tell, in comparison to this, the man told everyone that he is having relationship issues with his wife. This made his wife feel uncomfortable. Big difference. I know it's a little bit longer, but with the powers being inserted within this little example, you can tell it makes a huge difference. The second concept here is the biggest mistake that most aspiring writers make and what to do about it. And this is going to be talking about conversational tone, you and I. So most writers start off their career writing in a passive tone. And I think this is basically a kind of training that you go through when you're going through school. It's that academic tone of writing. So it makes them a me too kind of writer and loses engagement with the reader. So when you're in a crowd with a person on stage speaking, you're not always there. What I mean by this is if you go to a seminar or something and there's a speaker on stage, sometimes your mind kind of drifts off and then you're like staring at the back of the head of the person in front of you, and you are like kind of daydreaming sometimes, right? So you don't want to have your audience or your readers do that when they're reading your content. As opposed to that, during a one-on-one conversation, you're much more likely to pay attention, right? I mean, sure, your mind might drift off and you might go, hey, oh, wait, what were you saying? Come again? But you're much more likely to pay attention to whatever they're saying because it's a one-on-one conversation, right? So the solution to not losing your reader is, instead of writing in a passive tone, write in a conversational tone. So use you, me, and avoid using you guys. You guys is a big one. You guys, if you go on YouTube and you see these vlog videos from these aspiring vloggers, or even sometimes some pretty big vloggers, they always use you guys, and that is probably not the best approach that you want to take on when you're trying to create a masterpiece how-to article. The reason behind that is because when someone is reading your content, they are usually not with a bunch of friends and reading your content, like standing all by the computer and reading your content. It's a one-on-one conversation, even though they can't really respond back. Well, I guess with comments and stuff, but it's typically a one-on-one conversation, right? So you want to make it so. Instead of saying you guys or all these people, you want to use you and I. Okay, so bad example, passive tone. People often experience pain in their abdominal area due to long-term unhealthy eating habits. Okay, your eyes kind of just glaze over, right? So conversational tone. When you eat unhealthy food for years and years, you're much more likely to get stomach cancer. Yes, you. Don't get into the habit of eating unhealthy food, okay? Get in. So, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, use conversational tone, use you and I, and avoid phrases like you guys and basically that passive kind of language. Okay, so let's move on. This is the Bible teaching strategy of mass influence. Use analogies and metaphors to teach. Now, most people create how-to content with the approach of this is what you need to know. All right. Now, people don't usually learn very well and don't really benefit from this style of education or this type of content. The definition itself of the word education is actually to draw out from within. I think is embedded within the Latin root of the specific word. And if you look through the Bible, you will notice that it is filled with metaphors and analogies and well similes as well. And that's also, I believe, is the reason why it's one of the most sought after how-to books of all time. So what you want to do is you want to use analogies and metaphors when you teach concepts or when you teach ideas. It'll connect, well, when you do this, you basically connect existing and understood concepts from your reader's mind together. And once this happens, it's much easier for them to quote unquote understand. Okay, so it'll connect the concepts that the reader already understand together in a new way. And I'm going to show you a couple examples here. The bad example, telling it like it is going to sound like this. If you want to lose weight, you need to change your environment so it's harder for you to eat unhealthy food than to eat healthy food. Okay, so that's a bad example. Now, a good example, using analogies and metaphors. So, have you ever tried to lose weight and found it almost impossible? Well, here is some food for thought, no puns intended. Have you ever seen one of those Buddha monk documentaries where they show the mountaintop community of these monks going about with their disciplined lifestyle? Let me ask you, are any of them overweight or unhealthy looking? No, right? Well, why is that? Well, we all know that junk food makes us fat, right? How hard is it how hard will it be, I should say, for one of these Buddha monks to get his hands on some potato chips, a can of Coke? What about a McDonald's Big Mac? Pretty hard, right? What about some whole grain rice and wild cabbage? That's all they eat, right? Well, the point here is that if you make it more difficult for you to have access to the unhealthy food than it is for you to have access to the healthy food, it will be a lot easier for you to lose weight and become healthy. You want to change your environment so it's harder for you to eat unhealthy food than it is for you to eat healthy food. Okay, so as you can see with that example, you basically it's a lot easier for you to understand because I created this mental little story for you and connected a couple different existing concepts that you've already understand within your head together in a new way, and I brought everything together in a new seeing it from a new light, so to speak. Okay, so bottom line, you want to use metaphors and analogies when you are teaching a new concept. So you want to connect existing ideas together instead of introducing new ideas right off the bat. Okay. Concept 4 is the easy method to create an aha moment for your readers. Provide perspective to show insight. This one is really powerful, so check it out. So many aspiring writers have trouble making their content unique or quote-unquote insightful. The readers consume their content and say things like, oh yeah, I knew that. I think you know what I'm talking about here. There are a lot of different articles floating around, and you click on it and you read through probably the first couple sentences. You're like, okay, yeah, I knew that, and you close it. So that is definitely not what we want for our readers, because even if it is something that they they understand to a certain degree, you want them to consume the content that you create the entire way through, because it's most likely they're still gonna learn one or two little nuggets that's gonna help them. But if they give up after the first 2 or 3 sentences and they say, yeah, I knew that, they're never gonna learn anything, right? So, similar to teaching with analogies and metaphors, you can create insight by showing perspective. And when you do this, you get to engage the audience as well. So, bad example with no perspective. Are you an aspiring musician who is trying to make a living with your talent? Instead of trying to tell the world about how great your music is, listen to your customers and see how you can help them. Okay, that sounds fine. That's there's not much more to it. And an aspiring musician reading this might go, okay, that's cool, sure, and then that's it. They probably wouldn't take any action on it, and that's not what we want to do. We want to legitimately help them, our audience. So, a good example in this case: are you a struggling musician who's having trouble finding paid gigs? Are you trying to get paid performance gigs at the local pubs and restaurants, but finding that nobody cares? So, what's the solution? Pretend that you're a pub owner from down the street. Let's just pretend for now. You're busy with the day to day business tasks, dealing with complaints, managing your employees, filing paperwork, and such. Business is doing okay, but far from great. You're losing sleep at night um, trying to figure out new marketing strategies for growing your customer base. One day you get a phone call. Hey there, I'm a musician who lives up the street. I do weekend performances. My music is great. My rate is $250 per set. Are you interested? What would you say as the restaurant owner? No, sorry, we don't have that kind of budget, and hang up, right? Well, what if the call went something like this? Hey there, I'm an aspiring musician from up the street. I do covers of popular pop songs from the radio, the kind of music that really draws a crowd. I was in your shop last week and was surprised that it was empty. I'm confident that I can help you fill this space up with youngsters that have some money to spend. I have a small following in the town as well. I can probably get them out to come support me. Anyway, I'm free to do a quick set this weekend. Can we talk about the rates and or we can talk about the rates and other details later on, but do you think you may be interested in something like this? Now, how much more likely are you to take up this offer now? Much more likely, right? The point is that if you can put yourself into the shoes of your customer, you have a much better chance of getting their attention and earning money. So this is interesting because I'm uh, talking about a concept about placing yourself into the shoes of your customer, about placing yourself into the shoes of a customer. So a concept about creating perspective, about creating perspective. So the summary here is that you want to create perspective by placing your reader into the shoes of other people, people that are important in their life, and see the scenario from there. And this creates an aha moment. It creates an insight. And by doing this, you get to uh, teach something and connect existing ideas together in a way that makes them go, oh, now I understand. So that's something really important. Okay. Concept 5: the lazy man's method to build instant trust with readers. Use quotes of target audience. So sometimes writers find it hard to write something convincing without gathering a copious amount of supporting material. A simple method for catching your reader's attention and communicating that you're on the same page as them is by using the language of your audience, aka quotes of your audience. And you do this by doing the research on the topic up front and copying quotes from the target audience on the issue at hand. So, an example here on the topic of finding work online as a freelance writer. I love to pick these really interesting examples. So, the title of the article, let's pretend here, will be The Step by Step Guide to Landing Long Term, Well Paying Writing Projects on Elance. So, the quotes can start off like this, or the article can start off like this. I've had such bad luck with Elines in the past, submitted hundreds of bids and never landed a gig. It seems so overwhelming with the low-ball projects and billings of writers. I have tried Odesk and Elines without much luck for getting writing projects. I assume that those sites are horrible and terrible anyways. Frustrated about where the writing industry is going? I know how you feel. as an aspiring writer, I've experienced the ups and downs of writing jobs, and ups and downs of the writing job market online. It seems like the cards are stacked against us when we try to bid on projects on these job sites like Elance and Odesk. Okay, so as you can tell, when I start off with these quotes, it's if the reader is a qualified reader, if the reader is a person who is looking to get long-term, well-paying projects from Elance, they'll go, "Wow, these are basically the things that these are the quotes that really resonate with me, and these are the things that I've been thinking about in my head or have experienced," and it basically hits home for them, and it really resonates. And this builds that trust right from the get-go, because the person reading this content will go, wow, this person really understands me, because, well, they just verbalized the problem better than I could. Okay, so that's actually another concept we're going to go into a little bit later on. But as you can tell, by quoting the target audience right in the article, right from the get-go, you get to get on the same page as your target reader. Okay, so how to find these quotes of target audience? You can do so by going on to Amazon or Kindle platform, I should say, and you can search for books on Kindle or on Amazon on the subject that you're trying to write on. So if we're talking about weight loss, then you're going to be looking at weight loss books, and if it's weight loss for women, then more specifically, women's weight loss secrets or something like that. And then you can read through the reviews. From those reviews, a lot of people will comment with the target customer's language, and they'll even ask some questions that can provide you with some insight. Number two, you can go on to reddit.com and go into the subreddits and basically read through in the related threads, and through those different threads you'll get a lot of these customer language as well, or audience language. Number three, you can go through YouTube videos on the topic and look through the comments. So you just type in a keyword that's related. If we're talking about weight loss, then you can do how to shred belly fat or something like that, and then just click on the video that may resonate with your target audience, and then scroll down to look at the comments and see what people are saying, what questions they're asking, so on and so forth. Okay, and number four is you can go onto niche blog sites. Okay, and by going onto these blog sites, you can even read some of these articles, and within these articles, some of these writers will include some of these quotes that you're looking for, or you can go into the comment section for these blogs and read through those blog comments. So you can literally just grab these quotes from the comments and then just paste it right into your content. It's not. I'm not saying you want to plagiarize. It's not for that purpose. It's just so you can use that content to get on the same page with your audience. And I mean, you might want to change it a little bit and not use the quote exactly as it is. You just change a couple words around. But essentially, the goal of it is to show that you understand your audience, and so they in return understand that you understand them. Okay, so that is the strategy for building trust with your readers really quickly. Alright, concept 6, mind control method, how to get 100% engagement, and this is through telling a story and bleeding blood right from the beginning. So when we start an article as writers, sometimes we run into the trouble of not knowing how to start with a quote-unquote bang, so the audience really actually read beyond the first paragraph. We talked about this issue a couple times already, so this strategy, I kind of gave it away already, but you want to use the storytelling technique to really help yourself out with that. So the solution is to use the age-old mind control trick of telling a story. We're hardwired to be captured by stories, even if the story is fictional. I mean, look at the movie industry, right? Stories and multi-billion-dollar industry. This can be used as an analogy to teach a lesson, or simply as an attention getter. Now, you can basically use the power word technique alongside, well, I actually merge the two concepts together and make it something that is dynamite. So write your stories with power, so to speak. So example here, if you start off your article with something like this: ow, I looked down and all I saw was red. I couldn't believe it. The hot sticky liquid trickled down my leg. This is gonna catch some attention. It's not gonna, someone reading that is not gonna go, oh, okay, I'm gonna go read something else. They're gonna keep on reading. Example number two. A few weeks back, I received an unsolicited email. Alan was his name. After skimming over the first two or three lines, I knew it was another "help me, I want to build a successful online business like yours" email. Shaking my head, I responded with a, "So what have you tried so far?" I knew already that this guy was already doomed to fail. All right, so that is another example. It's a little bit intriguing. It's like, oh, this guy is doomed to fail. How is that? So it creates that curiosity factor, and it draws the reader in, assuming that the reader is someone who is looking to also build a successful online business. Okay, so the point here is to bleed blood and tell a story right from the get-go if you want to start off with a bang. And also, you can use this story as the analogy, or keeping it short, use it as an analogy or metaphor to teach a concept right from the get-go. Okay, and we're going to show you how to, or I'm going to show you how to use that in later concepts. Okay, so let's move on. Concept 7: popular writing mistake that confuses your readers. You want to be talking about tangible, measurable, external stuff and use that kind of language. Okay, so what's the issue here? Writers often find themselves writing wimpy content that does not sell. As you probably know, we are just getting bombarded with content, and we have to be constantly selling with our content. If it's in any way not really believable, then we lose our readers, right? We lose our audience, and we don't want that. So it confuses readers and breaks rapport when you write wimpy content, wimpy copy, I should say. Okay, to avoid communication confusion, use words that have definite meanings. So, tangible, measurable, external, quantifiable words. So, what you want to do is you want to use words like 100%, at least 44%, half, 24, double, triple. And you want to avoid words like better, more, smaller, thinner, bigger, faster. Okay, so example of the differences. Take this pill and you will be thinner. It's a no risk purchase. Versus, this supplement will help you lose 15 pounds in 7 days or less. Or, we will give you a 100% refund. Example 2: I will help you realize your passion and turn it into a career. Versus, I will help you turn your existing skill into a profitable business in the next 2 weeks. I will then show you the 7-step process to scale up this business to $4,000 a month in net profit. Now, this one is for life coaches, and I hear this all the time. I will help you realize your passion and turn it into a career. Great. What does that mean? Who knows? So, example number 3: increase stamina versus run 12 kilometers without stopping. Example 4: I will show you how to become more productive for work. Versus, I will show you the strategies I use to building $2 million businesses in 2 years' time. Let me restart that. I will show you the strategies I use to building $2 million businesses in 2 years' time while taking Friday, Saturday, Sundays off. Okay, example 5: speedy, no risk delivery versus deliver to your door within 30 minutes or it's free. So you can tell that when you use quantifiable, external, and tangible language, you can get on the same page with your target audience, and it communicates very, very clearly what you are trying to say. So increase stamina. What does that mean? Run 12 kilometers without stopping. Okay, a lot more quantifiable and a lot more clear. I can probably even improve this with run 12 kilometers at 20 kilometers per hour without stopping. That's even more specific. So as specific as you can, and that definitely holds you to a higher standard for quality of content. It may take a little bit longer for you to create this content, but again, you want to be creating quality stuff, right? So that's pretty much it. You want to use qualify or quantifiable and external and just tangible type of language instead of just something that is arbitrary. Concept 8: how to create articles that people want to read every single time. Now, this is about answering to questions and not blabbing and feeding information. And it's also talking about benefits. Okay? So, most books that are written are usually, well, never read all the way through, right? We don't want to create something that nobody cares about. So the reason why most books written are never read, because they were not written with the audience's concern in mind. In other words, it's not these books aren't written in a way that answers the questions. It's like taking a class where the instructor says you need to learn A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. Hard for the student to engage in the class, right? So the solution to this is to create content that answers the questions. Okay? And how do you do this? So instead of force feeding information and teaching what you want people to learn, you want to answer to your readers' questions, and you want to do research on these questions. So for the first example here, these are titles or subjects for an article or an information-based product. First one: why you need to eat healthy to lose weight, versus the one reason why you can't get rid of that stubborn belly fat. Now, which one would you rather, dive into and consume? Obviously, the second one here, because why you need to eat healthy to lose weight, that's not appetizing at all in terms of, an appealing piece of content to read. I mean, everyone knows that you kind of want to eat healthy, and eating healthy will help you lose weight, but this is not interesting at all. But the one reason why you can't get rid of that stubborn belly fat, that's a different story, right? So example number 2: six workouts post-pregnancy women need to do every day, versus how to get rid of that embarrassing cellulite in 7 days with do it your DIY, do it yourself natural home remedies. Let me repeat that: how to get rid of embarrassing cellulite in 7 days with do it yourself natural home remedies. Now, which one is more interesting and entices you to actually get into? So obviously the second one, because the first one, 6 workouts post-pregnancy women need to do every day, that doesn't communicate any benefit at all. Well, why would you want to do workouts? Right? But for the second one, how to get rid of embarrassing cellulite, that's a benefit. And 7 days, wow, that's quick. Would do it yourself, interesting, so save money. Natural home remedies implies that it's safe. Okay? So research popular questions of your target audience and create content over the questions. So again, instead of saying you need to learn XYZ and ABC, you want to search for the questions that people are asking, your target audience is asking, and answer to those questions. Create content to answer to those questions. So do research by going on to Amazon, Reddit, YouTube, and niche blogs and forums and reading the questions and comments. So we talked about this in the previous concept. You want to do the research right up front by going on to Amazon, reading the different comments, going on to YouTube, and watching the relevant videos, and then scrolling down to the bottom to read through the comments and find the customer language and discover these questions that the target audience is asking. All right, niche blogs, forums, so on and so forth. They all revolve around the same concept. Okay, so you want to look into the questions and determine the benefit that the audience is looking for and talk to that benefit whenever you can. So when someone is asking for, let's do the weight loss example again. It's kind of rudimentary, but that's everyone can relate to it. So, how can I? If someone is asking, how can I lose? How can I shred belly fat, or how can I get rid of belly fat? If they're asking that specific question, you want to determine the benefit that you want to look deeper, and you want to determine the benefit that they are really actually asking for. So the benefit, yeah, sure, they might be looking to get rid of that stubborn belly fat, but if it's a middle age, uh, let's say the target markets or the audience is women aged 25 to 30, and they're asking this question, then the benefit is to look good in her bathing suit when summer comes around. Okay, so I'll probably use that example later on in other concepts, but you want to determine the benefit that they're looking for by reading deeper into what they're asking. So it's not just lose belly fat, it's the benefit after that. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later on in detail, but for now you want to do your research on all these different customer questions or the target audience questions, and then jot those questions down and create content to answer to those questions instead of force feeding information. Okay, the mind reading method of trust building. State the problem better than the customer can to gain instant trust. Okay, so writers have trouble connecting, building trust quickly, as mentioned many times previously. Okay, so the one powerful way to get on the same page is to state the audience's problem better than they can themselves. So you can do so by seeing through what they're asking for and interpreting what they really want. And for extra points, you can use power words. So we touched up on a couple of these concepts previously, but in this case, we're gonna dive into detail. So example number 1, how to dance in the club. Now, if a guy was asking this, what they're really looking for is to become more comfortable on the dance floor and to have fun and not look silly. A middle-aged man who was looking to learn how to dance in the club, as they ask, is actually looking to become more comfortable on the dance floor, have fun, and not look silly. So if I was to write a piece of content, instead of saying learn how to dance in the club, I'll say something like, so you're looking to become more comfortable on the dance floor, you're looking to have fun and not look silly, and then so on and so forth. And once I say that, the target audience will go, this guy really understands me, because he states my desire and states my problem better than I can verbalize it myself. Okay, so example number 2, how to lose 15 to 20 pounds in the next 2 months. Okay, so that translates into, you don't want to be embarrassed to go to the beach with your friends when summer comes around. So profound difference, right? So how to lose 15 to 20 pounds in the next 2 months. What are they really asking for? So stating the problem in a way that really hits home and touches up on the emotions, it's a lot more hard hitting, and it's going to resonate, and it's going to help you get on the same page with your target audience. So again, how to lose 15 to 20 pounds in the next 2 months translates into, you don't want to be embarrassed to go to the beach with your friends when summer comes around, right? So bottom line, look at the questions being asked by your target market, target audience, and interpret that the problem that they're really experiencing. Okay, alright, so concept number 10, the framework for writing an engaging how-to article every single time. Masterpiece, how-to articles are not written, they are assembled together. The why, what, how, what if framework. So getting down to business, how to construct a piece of content from beginning to end. We're going to use the why, what, how, what if framework. Let me explain. So first, we're going to get started with the with the why component, and what that means is you want to give the reader the reason for consuming your content. Now you want to give them a very, very compelling reason. So once you can do this, you can actually hook them in and get them interested. Number 2, you want to get on the same page with your reader. So this part will help you gain trust and basically build trust with the reader, so they are more likely to consume your content all the way through, and they are likely to actually implement your advice and just be more receptive to the content that you are delivering. Okay, so how? This part is to give the solution to the problem on a conceptual level. So you're going to help your audience orient themselves so they can take action soon on fixing the problem, whatever problem they are experiencing. So what if? So the last part here is to give the solution to the problem on a tactical level. So this is the step-by-step solution. So you're going to walk them through step by step. All right, so let's get into some examples, and we're just going to run through the 4 steps in more detail later on. So example, subject, how to stay motivated to stay on a diet and lose weight for summer. So if we're talking about this subject for a how-to piece of content, then we're going to proceed this way. And the audience for this is women aged 24 to 35 that are looking to lose 15 to 20 pounds in 2 months' time to be bikini ready for summer. All right, so remember, first part of the framework is the why component. It's to give them the motivation to consume your content. So in point form, it will be like this. Learn the one fail-proof strategy that you can use to be consistently motivated to stay on your diet and lose weight. All right, so that is the motivation. And the what, which is getting on the same page with your audience, you'll say something like this. You've probably made promises to yourself that you're going to start eating healthy once and for all. You found it really hard to stay on a diet even after making these grand promises to yourself. After a few short weeks, you go back to your usual unhealthy eating routine. So as you can tell, this is stating the familiar problem that the target audience or your reader is running into or was running into. This gets you on the same page with your target audience, right? Alright, so number 3, the how factor, is giving the solution on a conceptual level. So we kind of talked about this in the previous concept, but does a Buddha monk need motivation to stay on a healthy diet? No, it's hard to eat unhealthy than to eat healthy. So this is an analogy, and it's talking about the solution to the problem on a conceptual level. Point is to manipulate the environment in a way that it's harder for you to eat junk food than it is for you to eat healthy food. So what if the step-by-step solution to the problem? Step 1, take all processed food, juice, junk food, and pastries and donate it to the food bank. Step 2, post a public announcement of your current weight and your ideal body weight in 2 months on your social media newsfeed to keep you accountable. Step 3, hire and pay a good food prepper for 2 months to prepare you 3 meals a day of healthy vegetables and lean meat. So step 4, call your 2 best friends and invite them to join you on a 2 months of healthy eating routine to keep you accountable. So these are examples, of course, and I'm not actually advocating these things, although it sounds pretty legit. Okay, let's move on. So this is the basic bare bone example of the framework in use. So once the content is formatted this way, the target reader or your audience will be forced to consume your entire piece of content, and they will get that quote-unquote aha moment. So let's get into more detail and see how we can do this from beginning to end. So these are the assembling blocks that you can use for each part of this framework. So for, again, coming back to why, the motivation for your reader to consume the content, you can tell a story to get them on the same page and capture their attention right up front. So starting with a bang. Remember that concept? If not, you can refer back to the 10 concepts for creating content. Next, you can also use this piece, this quote-unquote assembling block. You can answer 2 questions to right away show the audience that, hey, you understand the problem, and this piece of content is going to help solve your problem. You're going to use conversational tone. This is something that's applicable for the entire piece of content. You're gonna use the customer's language. It's kind of like answering two questions. It shows them that you understand them, and they'll understand you that understand. Okay, and you can use questions being asked. You can do the research for these, and you actually should do the research for these. You can quote your customers' questions, and you can deliver it back to them to show them that you understand them. Promise big in the beginning, and justify with your step-by-steps. You can mind read by describing the problem at hand better than your customer can. We talked about this as well with the concepts. You can use more power words to, again, start off with a bang and capture your audience's attention. You want to use concrete, tangible, external language so they understand exactly what you're talking about and there is no confusion. So there's a little bit of overlap here. For the what, this is, again, getting on the same page with your target audience. You want to use research language of your audience. You want to tell a story to get on the same page and capture their attention, and you want to state the problem better than the customer can themselves. Okay, and how, which is talking about the solution on a conceptual level. You want to use analogies and metaphors to make a point conceptually, and you want to provide perspectives to show insight and create an aha moment. So what if this is the step-by-step portion for solving the problem? So you want to list out the step-by-step, tangible, external, measurable, and concrete formula for, or steps for solving the problem. And you want to use the tangible, external, measurable, concrete language. And then you can summarize everything real quickly at the very, very end. Okay. So let's go over it one more time, and we're gonna now show you. I'm gonna now show you the examples for each one of these building blocks. Okay, subject again is the same thing. How to stay motivated to stay on a diet and lose weight for summer. Women, the audience is women aged 24 to 35 that are looking to lose 15 to 20 pounds in 2 months' time to be bikini ready for summer. So coming back to why, tell a story to get on the same page and capture attention. Alright, let's remove that. Okay, again, this is an example. So I looked down at the pile of brightly colored chocolate wrapper. For a brief moment, I thought I was dreaming. It couldn't be. How could I have done it again? I promised myself only 4 days ago that I would never let myself go again. Why are you so weak? Why can't you control yourself? I beat myself up mentally when I make these trip-ups. This wasn't the first time I made and broken my own dieting promises. Oh no, far from it. Even knowing that summer is right around the corner, I couldn't resist the temptation of the Godiva milk chocolate. So this is telling a story to get on the same page and capture attention. So if I started off a how-to article like this, it's going to get some attention from the target market because they're going to be able to relate to that, and it's going to resonate with them. So from there, they'll go, this article is exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm going to actually read on and consume the entire thing. So the second component for the why is our building block for the why component is find out once and for all how to stick to a diet and shred those 15 to 20 pounds before summer comes around. Alright, so they're asking the question of how to lose 15 to 20 pounds in 2 months' time. So you're gonna answer to that question. Use conversational tone. Show you once and for all how you can stay on that diet you've sworn that you're going to stick to. So it's show you how you can instead of how people can. Alright, so how you can. Alright, we all know that summer is coming around. You don't want to feel self-conscious about heading to the beach, right? So we all know, and you don't want to feel self-conscious. So it's not. A lot of people feel self-conscious at the beach because they something. It's not the passive tone. You want to use you and I and conversational tone. Okay, so use customer language. I get motivated for the first couple days, but when the weekend comes around, I just lose all motivation. I end up having to start all over again the following week. This is so frustrating. So this can literally be a quote quoted from a forum post where people are talking about their experience and frustration. So you can just basically plug that right out of a forum post and then use it right in your content, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So use questions being asked. So how exactly do these people do it? How do these people with perfect bodies stay motivated consistently and not yo-yo diet? So again, use questions being asked. So you can promise big and back it up, of course. I'm going to review to you the one step-by-step strategy you can put into use today that will force you to stick to that diet and start shredding off pounds. Alright? So mine read by describing the problem better than the customer can. It's like Groundhog Day. Ugh, I swear I'm not going to eat bad ever again starting today. Wait, didn't I just tell myself this last Sunday? Or didn't I tell myself this on Sunday? So this is basically mind reading by describing the problem better than the customer can. And you can tell that a couple of these components are really similar, and in truth they are, but they kind of merge together, and the lines are kind of blurred when they're used in certain contexts, and that is fine. But bottom line is you want to connect with the readers really you want to connect with them by using the language that they are using in their head, or even describing the language that they're using in their head better than they can themselves. That's bottom line. Okay, so next you want to use power words. How embarrassing would it be to be the only person at the beach fully clothed? What's worse, everyone knows why you're not in your bathing suit. How humiliating. And you want to use concrete, tangible, external language. Show you the 7-step strategy that has helped me lose 22 pounds in 60 days. And alternatively, you can say, show you the 7-step process that can help you eliminate yo-yo dieting completely. Let me restart. Show you the 7-step process that can help you eliminate yo-yo dieting completely and help you lose that 15 to 20 pounds before summer. So very concrete, very external. You know exactly what this is talking about. Okay. So let's move on, and let's see if we can run through this a little bit quicker. So for what, it's getting on the same page, right? So use research language of the audience. You can swap this with why. So what's the issue here? It seems like no matter how hard I try, I always cave in when temptation is nearby. Am I just not a motivated, disciplined person? Tell a story to get on the same page. I look down, blah blah blah, and we've already kind of read this through. So this is telling a story to show the audience that you understand. And you can also swap this with the why portion. Okay, say the problem better than the customer can. You can also swap this with the why portion. It's like once the thought, the image, the smell of the chocolate enters your mind, it's over. The next thing you know, you're staring down at a pile of colorful empty wrappers. Silver, purple, red, and blue. Scene of wreckage. Your nightmare has come true. Again. So this is saying the problem better than you, better than the customer or the target reader can themselves. Okay. So how? This is talking about the solution on a conceptual level. Use analogies and metaphors to make a point conceptually. Have you ever seen one of those Buddha monks documentaries where they showed the mountaintop community of these monks going about with their disciplined lifestyle? Well, let me ask you, are any of them overweight or unhealthy looking? No, right? Well, why is that? Well, we all know that junk food makes us fat, right? How hard is it going to be for one of these Buddha monks to get his hands on some potato chips, a can of Coke? What about a McDonald's Big Mac? Pretty hard, right? What about some whole grain rice and wild cabbage? They eat that all day, right? The point here is that if you make it more difficult for you to have access to the unhealthy food than it is for you to have access to the healthy food, it will be a lot easier for you to lose weight and become healthy. You want to change your environment so it's harder for you to eat unhealthy food than it is for you to eat healthy food. Okay, so that is, again, using analogy metaphor to explain a point. Not teaching anything new, just connecting existing ideas together. Okay, provide perspective to show insight. Now, this one is not really applicable, so you're just going to have to refer back to concept number 3 for examples. And again, this is not going to be applicable for all the different subjects that you'll be writing about in the future, but use it appropriately and accordingly. Okay, so what if this is the step-by-step, tangible, external, measurable, and concrete language that you're going to be using, and you're going to do this in the step-by-step format. So step 1, take all processed food items that are in a box, juices, junk food, candy, chocolate, and pastries, and donate it to your local food bank. Do it today. Step 2, post a public announcement of your current body weight and your ideal body weight, 15 pounds, well, I guess it's 15 pounds, in 2 months on your social media newsfeed. Let everyone know the exact goal that you're going to achieve in 60 days. Step 3, go on to Craigslist, hire and pay a local food prepper / shopper for 2 months to prepare you 3 meals a day of healthy vegetables and lean meats. The meals should be no more than 600 calories each and should contain no more than 20 grams of carbohydrate, and the protein should total up to at least 85 grams. Okay? So everything is super concrete and super tangible, external, and you just cannot get them, mistaken or anything, confused or anything like that. So step 4, you want to call your 2 best friends and invite them to join you on this 2 months of healthy eating routine to keep you accountable. Much more likely for you to stay on track if you have people watching over you to make sure that you stay on track. So you want to tell them that your ideal goal is to lose 15 pounds in 60 days and you're taking steps XYZ to do it, and invite them to do the same. Step 5, ABC, step 6, DF, step 7, so on and so forth. But you get the point. And then you want to summarize. The key here is not to rely on motivation, since motivation is inconsistent. You want it to be inconsistent. What you want to do instead is set up an environment so it forces you to stay on track. You want to manipulate your surrounding so it's more difficult for you to eat bad food than it is for you to eat healthy food. And that is pretty much it. Bring it all together now. So, getting started. Now, this is the entire thing connected together, and once I read this entire thing through, you'll see how it all comes together. Alright, I'm gonna try to do this without too much choppiness. So we're gonna start with why, which is the motivation for consuming this piece of content. I looked down at the pile of brightly colored chocolate wrapper. For a brief moment, I thought I was dreaming. It couldn't be. How could I have done it again? I promised myself only 4 days ago that I would not let myself go again. Why are you so weak? Why can't you control yourself? I beat myself up mentally when I make these trip-ups. This wasn't the first time I made and broken my own dieting promises. Oh no, far from it. Even knowing that summer is right around the corner, I couldn't resist the temptation of the Godiva milk chocolate. I get motivated for the first couple of days, but when the weekend comes around, I just lose all motivation. I end up having to start all over again the following week. This is so frustrating. You see, this is what I hear all the time from people that are getting started with dieting. It's like Groundhog Day. Ugh, I swear I'm never going to eat that ever again starting today. Wait, didn't I tell myself this last Sunday? We all know that summer is coming around. You don't want to feel self-conscious about heading to the beach, right? So how exactly do these people do it? How do these people with perfect bodies stay motivated consistently and not yo-yo diet? Well, in this guide, you'll be able to find out once and for all how to stick to a diet and shed those 15 to 20 pounds before summer comes around. I'll show you the step-by-step strategy you can use to stay on that diet you've sworn that you're going to stick to. So now we transition into the what. So what's the issue here? It seems like no matter how hard I try, I always cave in when temptation is nearby. Am I just not a motivated, disciplined person? What can I do? And then we're going to transition right away into the how. This part's a little bit short, but you can take some of the content from why and move it down here, if it's applicable, of course. So now we transition into the how, which is the conceptual step. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen one of those Buddha monk documentaries where they show the mountaintop community of these Buddha monks going about with their disciplined lifestyle? Now let me ask you, are any of them overweight or unhealthy looking? No, right? Well, why is that? Well, we all know that junk food makes us fat, right? How hard will it be for one of these Buddha monks to get his hands on some potato chips? A can of Coke? What about a McDonald's Big Mac? Pretty hard, right? What about some whole grain rice and wild cabbage? They eat that all day, right? The point here is that if you make it more difficult for you to have access to unhealthy food than it is for you to have access to healthy food, it'll be a lot easier for you to lose weight. You want to change your environment so it's harder for you to eat unhealthy food than it is for you to eat healthy food. Now we transition into the what if, which is the step by step. So, how do we make these changes to our environment? Step 1, take all processed food items that are in a box, juice, junk food, candy, chocolate, and pastries, and donate them to your local food bank. Do it today. Step 2, post up a public announcement of your current body weight and your ideal body weight in 2 months on your social media newsfeed. Let everyone know the exact goals you're going to achieve in 60 days. Step 3, go onto Craigslist, hire and pay a local food prepper shopper for 2 months to prepare you 3 meals a day of healthy vegetables and lean meats. The meal should be no more than 600 calories and should contain no more than 20 grams of carbohydrate. The protein should total up to at least 85 grams. Step 4. Call your 2 best friends and invite them to join you on 2 months of healthy eating routine to keep you accountable. Tell them that your ideal goal is to lose 15 pounds in 60 days and you're looking to take step XYZ to do it, and invite them to do the same. Step 5, ABC. Step 6, DEF. Step 7, blah blah blah. So to summarize, the key here is not to rely on motivation, since motivation is inconsistent. What you want to do instead is you want to set up an environment so it forces you to stay on track. You want to manipulate your surroundings so it's more difficult for you to eat bad food than it is for you to eat healthy food. And that is everything coming together in one piece of content. Okay, so this is the step-by-step process you're going to take for assembling this piece of article, and you're going to create the content by following these steps. So step 1, you want to start with research, and you want to write down the questions and the language of your target audience, right? So you can find out these questions and these comments and the language by going onto Amazon or Kindle and just reading through the comments from the books that were written on your subject, right? And what you can do from there, oh, and another thing is you want to make sure that you are on Amazon.com instead of .ca or .uk, because Amazon.com is a lot bigger than all the other sites that are even combined, so you're going to get a lot more information by going on to Amazon.com. Okay, you can go onto YouTube related videos and read through the comments. So youtube.com, and you just want to type in the keywords for whatever subject you're writing on. If it's fat loss, then you can type in things like weight loss tips for women or something like that. And then search up the videos, read through the comments, and take out the questions or the comments that are appropriate and use it within your article. Okay, and then reddit.com, within these subreddits you can also do pretty much the exact same thing. Do the same with niche blogs in your specific niche and niche forums. So do your research up front. You want to collect these things and then go from there to create the components. So step 2, jot down components for each part of the why, what, how, what if framework. So this is the checklist for why, which is the motivation for getting your customer, or the motivation to get your customer or your target audience to read through your content is tell a story to get on the same page to capture attention. Answering to questions, use conversational tone, use customer language, use questions being asked, promise big. Mind read by describing the problem at hand better than the customer can themselves. And you want to use power words, use concrete, tangible, external language. And for what, which is getting on the same page, by describing problems is to use research language of the audience. And you want to tell a story to get on the same page and capture attention and state the problem better than your customer can themselves. Okay? So you can tell that a couple of these overlap, but that is okay because this specific session or section is to get on the same page with your audience. And if it overlaps and you talk about similar things, that is okay. Okay? Next, use analogies or metaphors to make a point. And you do this conceptually, right? This is the conceptual level. And then you want to provide perspectives to show insight, to create an aha moment. From there, you want to go into the what if, which is the step-by-step section for providing the solution. Step-by-step, tangible, external, measurable, and concrete language. And then you want to summarize. And that's it. So go through these and then create the relevant pieces for each one of these I guess elements, you can say. And then once you're done that, you assemble all of the different components together. Use connecting words and phrases to link all the different components together. And that is pretty much it. So like I said before, a piece of content is not really written but assembled together. So do your research up front, get all the proper pieces together, and then go through this checklist to create all the necessary writing or the actual words itself, and then you piece them all together by following this format. Okay? And that is pretty much it.